So this is my talk about simple and compound sentences. So simple sentences are the foundation for basic, accurate writing. If you can perfect a simple sentence, then you are taking the right steps to becoming a more fluent and diversely skilled writer of English. In terms of writing, it's very important to be accurate. Because it's not like speaking, whereby you have a tone of your voice to fall back on, or you can gesture or use eye contact. With writing, you only have your voice, so it's very important to have accurate sentences. Simple sentence means a simple structure. It doesn't mean that the content is simple or the grammar is simple. It just means simple structure. What is that structure? All right. It's also very important to have subject-verb alignment. Okay. What that means is basically, does the subject of your sentence say, I have a sentence called I am Connor, the subject I, the verb am. Both of these need to be correctly aligned. It couldn't be I is Connor, I be Connor. All of those would be incorrect and strange, and having subject-verb agreement is a very important element of sentence writing. Working with simple sentences, it's very important to build good habits from the start. So that's why it's good to start with a simple sentence and to work on simple sentences and to get you into the understanding that a simple sentence is the foundation from which we are going to work with. Okay, so this is a couple of very simple sentences. As I said above, a simple sentence is a simple structure. I am Connor. You've got I, which is your subject, am, which is your verb, and Connor is the object. Of course, the same structure, but arguably a more complicated sentence says the leaders articulated their demands. Now, the only thing that is an issue there is the verb is articulated, which to some would not be an easy verb, but it still is a simple structure. You've got your subject, which is the leaders, the verb articulated, and their demands is the object. So what about the structure of a simple sentence? It's a subject plus verb plus object. I am Connor. Very straightforward, simple. And this structure is replicated throughout all sentences. There may be some changes in the general. Maybe perhaps the verb may go before. There may be no clear subject, but different things like that. But there's always a connection, and they're always following this structure. So the subject is who or what is acting in the sentence. All right. So this is the sentence above. I am, I, me. Okay. The verb is the action, the movement. In this case, it's to be, which is not a particularly good example of a verb because it's not really an action verb. But you could say, I know Connor. I work with Connor. You could have various different examples. The object, who or what has been acted upon. In this case, the object is Connor. So Connor it's me. Okay. We'll look at some more diverse sentences later on. If we think back to the one the leaders articulated their demands. So the object, their demands were articulated. the demands of the leaders were articulated, okay, which means they were shared or expressed. The object doesn't always need to be present, okay, so sometimes there may not be a very clear object in a sentence. Okay, subject-verb agreement is basically an understanding that the subject and the verb must agree. And what this means is basically, is your subject, the person doing the action, is the verb the correct grammar tense? It's simple. One could be the very straightforward sentence I gave at the start. I am Connor. Connor. I be Connor. I is Connor. A number of them like that. They may, if you have an incorrect verb, they don't make any sense at all. So it's very important to be aware of those very elementary grammatical issues. Okay, it's very common that errors usually relate to the subject and verb agreement. Even in some complex writing. So please try to pay attention. Be aware of what the subject of the sentence is and who is committing the action and what is the correct grammatical tense, okay, relating to the subject. So here's an example. The fact that the artifacts are found in the tomb, that they belong to the Teotihuacanos. So the fact that the artifacts were found in a tomb, blank, that they belong to the Teotihuacanos. So what options do we have? Would it say does not mean or do not mean? Just have a think about it there for a second. Just be careful. So the subject-verb agreement, basic errors are common. I'm going to give you an example of where you may actually make an error in terms of your subject-verb agreement. The fact that the artifacts are found at the tomb, blank, that they belong to the Teotihuacanos. What's the subject? Alright, we have two possible ones. The fact that the artifacts are found, this is the start. The subject is in there. It's the fact that is the object, or the subject, apologies, not the artifacts. Okay, just because the artifacts are the noun doesn't mean it's the subject. So the fact that the artifacts were found in the tomb does not mean that they, etc. It's important to be aware of the subject and the correct grammar tense. Clear. In this case, we're using the present simple. Okay. So it's kind of straightforward to work out, but you may come across situations which are a bit more challenging. We have a couple of different kinds of object. In many respects, we deal with them the same way that we would an object, but they are just different ways of using the object, of expressing and changing how they're used, I suppose. The first one is a complement, which gives more information about its subject. It can regularly be a verb. Okay. It typically follows verbs appear, be, become, seem, and what it kind of does is it just kind of tells us a little bit more about the object, about the subject, right? And an adverbial gives information about when, where, or how something happens. This can be used without the object or a complement. So I studied in London. John visits his brother every month. This case here, the first one, London, is telling us where, John visits his brother every month. It's telling us. Yeah. Compound sentences are basically the next step up after a simple sentence. And what they do is that they're essentially two closely related simple sentences or clauses connected by, in many cases, the same subject. All right. So, and we bring them together using coordinators. And coordinators are very simple but common words which we come across in English all the time, such as and, but, so, because, and or. Now let me run through a couple of examples for you, and you can see how they pan out. First one, straightforward. I like rugby. I like soccer. I like rugby and soccer. That didn't seem like a straightforward enough sentence to you, but it's important to show you the basic, that these things do not need to be very complicated. All right, and that we can use simple or quite straightforward and easily understood sentences to get a better understanding of how our more complex sentences should look. Let's look at but. I like rugby, but I can't play rugby. I like rugby, but I can't play it. So I like rugby. I recently joined my local team. I like rugby, so I recently joined my local team. In both of those but and so, we kind of don't really need to re-emphasize that it's your local rugby team because we know it's rugby. You just mentioned it, and in but. We say it because we know from the sentence before, from the shared subject, that we are talking about rugby. Okay, because I broke my arm. I'm sorry, because I broke my arm. I was playing rugby. I hurt my arm or I broke my arm because I was playing rugby. All right, so we're showing the relationship, the connection between the two. And I can't play rugby. I can't do my homework. I can't play rugby or do my homework. As I said, these very straightforward sentences can give us an understanding of how we can, further improve our own ability to write these sentences. Some other coordinators include for, yet, however, although, while, and when. Now, I'm going to go through simple versus compound sentences here, okay? And these are just some tips on how we may prepare to make the right choice between which sentence to use. So what does a simple sentence do? It expresses a single fact or idea, okay? So in that case, it's always just one straightforward thing. This is Dublin. All right, this is a single fact or an idea. With one sentence, we talk about one complete and important idea. So a single sentence can contain one important point which needs its own sentence. And this is where compound sentences come in, and why earlier on we were talking about such simple things as I like rugby and soccer. I like rugby, I like soccer. Are they such important entities? Are they so important that both would require their own sentence? I kind of doubt it, and you probably would agree with me. All right. Why do we need to work on our simple sentences? Well, we can build accuracy, especially in our subject-verb agreement, and we can use this understanding of simple sentences to be more accurate across all of our writing. Compound sentences, and they show the relationship between two ideas, usually connected by a shared subject or a shared verb, more often a shared subject. Being comfortable with compound sentences adds flow and fluidity to your writing, okay? By understanding the connection between ideas, we can show that we are thinking ahead towards a longer product and not just focusing on the straightforward sentences, okay? We're able to understand connections and the relationships between different elements of whatever it is we're writing about. Compound sentences, they're a straightforward structure, but they can give complex information. Don't feel that because you may be writing something which you believe to be complex, that it deserves a more elaborate sentence. This is not the case. Try to use the complex and the compound and simple sentences to benefit you and to improve your writing, not to make you, and also to avoid errors, essentially, which is the most important thing. It's always important to provide variety in sentence length, so don't be afraid to go to a second or a third clause, provided you're confident. This is why we think about simple sentences and compound sentences. Much like when we speak, when we write, we don't say in this kind of monotone simple sentence, simple sentence, simple sentence. We vary our speech a lot so that people can feel the connection with us, and with writing we need to do the same. Which leads me to my final point, which is variety is the spice of life. And this is very important when we talk about sentences. Keep your sentence styles and lengths varied to keep your reader interested. Okay, that's the end of my short presentation here on simple and compound sentences. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah.